Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good because that's what we all ultimately want. We want to feel good. Hey, I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson, and sitting right next to me is the woman who, like Mary Poppins, is practically perfect in every way. It's Amy. Hello.
That was surprising. Hi.
Hi. Good to see you again.
Yep, I keep seeing you every day.
I know. I like it. Well, hey, what are we going to talk about today on the health segment?
We're going to be talking about something that's been on my mind because I've been seeing a lot of patients where I feel like this is an issue. It's about human connection and the parasympathetic nervous system.
I love it. I seriously, I do.
Yeah.
I love connection and I love the parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
All right. But hey, before we get to that, I want to tell our viewers here, I want to make sure you know that before we go any further, if you have questions that you'd like us to answer on this show or off the show, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. You don't need to suffer, try to figure it out on your own. Nope, don't need to, because there are solutions, there are answers and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you can also visit my website, fletcherellingson.com, where you can check out all the free resources there. It's a great way to stay in this conversation, which, in my opinion, is the most important conversation.
Yes.
All right, so let's, before we jump into today's topic, let's go over a couple wins. Like, what's going well in your life? Where is life working out for you?
I feel like life is working out in almost every way that I can think of. I feel like life has been really good. Not that there haven't been little hiccups with things for sure, but I've just been feeling so grateful for the love and connection that we have with our family, and I enjoyed seeing some family at Thanksgiving, and then I love Christmas. I like to decorate for Christmas. I don't really do any holiday decorations except for Christmas, but then I do a lot of Christmas.
Like, she goes all out.
I'm not all out. People go more out than I go. But anyway, I definitely have a lot of Christmas, and we have a lot of bins of Christmas stuff. Anyway, so Christmas is really fun. I love baking and cooking and being with family, and I know it's not good for our planet, but I've been enjoying the lack of snow because I do have to drive to Brewster, and that can be kind of sketchy. So, but my work family is really going well too, and we had a Christmas party yesterday, and it's been good.
Yeah. Excellent.
How about for you? What's been going well for you?
What's been going well for me is, I'm reading that book by Michael Singer called The Untethered Soul, which I highly recommend. That has just been providing me with an abundance of insights, and not only insights, because insights are interesting, but they don't really make a difference. But it's been the catalyst for getting into action.
Yeah.
It's been an opportunity for me to really look at some stuff that's been on my heart, especially around resistance and trying to live with a more open heart, as we've discussed. So that's been a big deal.
Yeah.
And actually, just to share to be more transparent, I'm actually reading this book and going through it with a friend, and we're kind of holding each other accountable and sharing the insights that we have with one another. So that's been really fun.
Yeah, you've been enjoying that.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's going well is I've picked up my level of exercise and activity, physical activity, because I have a standard, and I usually keep that standard really well. But I did get into a bit of a slump where I let that standard go a little bit.
Right. I think it was the peanut M&Ms in your pajama pocket in the evening that you would just snack on.
I do like to snack. I'm a snacker.
On peanut M&Ms.
Yeah. So, yes. So
I haven't seen you do that for the last week.
I gave up the peanut M&Ms and a number of other things. So that's going well. And then business is going well too. And when I say business, I mean like connecting with people and in a coaching capacity. And I love seeing people take their lives to that next level in their health, wealth, and relationships. It's like one of the most exciting things for me. So that's going well, and I'm excited about the prospects in the future. And so life is working out really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, I'm not sure, we've been doing this show for a little over 3 years now, I believe, pretty sure. And, or even longer. Anyway.
I think about 3, but there was a big hiatus with COVID.
Right. I don't know that anyone knows about you that you were a professional magician for many years. And so sometimes you have you're obviously used to presenting, and I just thought people that don't know that should know that about you, that you did like big stage magic even before you kind of honed down to close-up magic, which you loved even more. But
yeah, close-up magic is definitely still my passion. I love that. Will always probably always do it. And gosh, just all those years of being a professional magician, just so many rich lessons and opportunities, and travel opportunities, and just understanding psychology even at a deeper level. Because when you're out on the street, like at Pike Place Market, and you got to gather a crowd around, and then learn how to address the crowd and kind of control them a little bit and interact and engage. There's a lot of psychology that's at play, and those are fun lessons.
Yeah, well, I would imagine you have to become a pretty good observer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like, how do you observe 20 people, right? Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought people should know that.
All right, now you know.
Now you know.
All right, so should we take a quick break?
Let's take a quick break.
Let's take a quick
then
break,
we can get
then
started.
we'll come back, we'll dive into
Human connection in the parasympathetic nervous system.
Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here with us today Amy Ellingson. We're talking about the parasympathetic nervous system and connection.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so this has been in my mind. I feel like, I haven't looked this up statistically, but I assume it's maybe been made worse by COVID. It's just also is always something that I've seen a lot of is people with depression, anxiety, stress, they call it, or, and I mean, so frequently I have people say that they have not told anyone how they feel and that they don't have anybody to talk to. People that they might have people that they do talk to, but they're like, I don't want to burden that person, or we don't have that type of relationship. I don't feel comfortable sharing. They have their own stuff going on. And I see this all the time, where people are really suffering from a lack of connection. And what I mean even by like a strong social connection is not just that you have acquaintances, but that you have people that you do feel really connected with. And that means those are people that you're going to confide in. Those are people that you trust enough with your own personal fears and doubts and what you might be going through, because people are actually contemplating ending their life and they've never told anybody, or people are feeling extremely hopeless. I mean, the things that I hear in my exam room are just, they're heartbreaking. And frequently people haven't even necessarily told their spouse that they're feeling this way, or they haven't told their significant other or their sister or brother, whoever it may be. So it's alarming to me, and it also is really sad. And then research-wise, these are just a few stats that I have, that people with a strong social connection have a 50% increased chance of longevity. That means like living a long time. I don't know exactly what that means. That might be, living past a normal lifespan. So in the 80s, 90s, even longer. And they've done studies on it, like in the blue zones. Those are people that have really strong social connections. It strengthens our immune systems. It helps us recover from disease faster. People who feel more connected have lower rates of anxiety and depression.
Yeah, can we just pause there for a second? Because I think what you just said is really significant, and I want people to hear this. Like, when you feel connected and have a sense of community, like it affects your immune system and your ability, you're less prone towards disease. I mean, that's like such a big deal.
It is, and again, just like we talked about in other episodes about what we eat and what we put in our mouth, how that affects our health. Also, what the chemical makeup of your body is generated by your brain frequently, not always, but so the experience that you're having emotionally is going to affect your body chemically. So people with a lot of social connection, it generates this positive feedback loop of social, emotional, and physical well-being. So like that is really like the takeaway, that like social connection generates a positive feedback loop of social, emotional, and physical well-being.
I gotta jump in there again because you're talking about the loop.
Yeah.
Because how often do we, the human species, we get caught up in these loops of thinking in our mind, right? That don't feel good, that aren't serving us, that aren't moving us forward, that are holding us back, right? So and then we feel, and then we wonder why we feel yucky.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like we all deal in loops, we all deal in these programs, and so it's super important to really emphasize that. Yeah, when you're in a feel good loop, it just continues to self-generate.
For sure. And then therefore, low social connection is associated with declines in physical and psychological health, as well as a higher propensity to, so people not wanting to be social. That leads to further isolation. So just what you're talking about. And that also might mean, like it might be like, well, I feel uncomfortable reaching out. Well, that may be the case because your comfort level has become isolation. You become comfortable. And there definitely are people that, for sure, that are isolated for many different reasons. And I'm not trying to say that it's like their fault, but it's one of those things where it's not your fault that you're isolated, but it's your responsibility. If you want to feel different, or if you're interested in longevity, or you're interested in better health, then you could look at that like, well, where could I become more socially connected? Who am I not sharing? So am I talking to my friends and my family? And I know these days that might be via Zoom, via FaceTime, via phone, more so than it used to be. But am I talking to these people and just staying very superficial, or am I actually talking about what's going on?
Yeah.
And it can be something that families aren't used to doing, but that's actually where you start to feel known and heard, and therefore that's how you feel connected, when you actually feel known. So if you talk to someone and you just felt suicidal last night, and you talk to someone about the weather the next day and about what so-and-so is doing or whatever, and you don't feel known or heard, then there is no connection. There's no sense of connection.
Yeah.
And so this other thing that I found was that, and this was data that's like 10 years old really, is that social connection is really decreasing at a fairly alarming rate. That this one study showed that in 1985, people said that they had 3 close confidants where they actually could share with. And then in 2004, it was only one, like most people said only one person, and 25% of Americans 10 years ago said they had no one to confide in. So I can only imagine what the pandemic has done to that. So this is another opportunity where I know, like in your mother's beautiful eulogy that you wrote, reaching out to people, being a source of kindness for them. And I know there's a 7 seconds movement, up by where we are, where it only takes a bit of time to ask someone. That you can even ask them, how is your mental health doing? Are you feeling connected? How can we be more connected? Or I'd like to be more connected with you. How can we generate that? I know those can be scary, but that's really what what we're all here for, I really feel like.
And I need to interrupt there too, because I think a lot of people may feel like, well, I'm not an extrovert. We're not saying you have to go be the life of the party.
No.
And what
Don't
we're
even
saying,
go to a party. I'm not even saying that.
But what I love about what you just said is you would have a few practical sentences that you could, that are go-to, like, hey, I'm just checking in. How is your mental health?
Yeah.
Any challenges that you're dealing with? How are you feeling?
And not how are you feeling? Like, oh, I'm good. It's like, no, how are you really feeling? And you could even write yourself some note cards. I mean, you can, and I know it might make your armpits sweat when you do it. I mean, it can be uncomfortable, but if you're someone who you're thinking, gosh, maybe I'm a bit isolated and I'm lacking connection, or someone in your life, or even someone in your town or your neighborhood, or another parent at school that you're like, gosh, I kind of think they're isolated potentially. There's an opportunity there to be kind, to show someone that you care.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
This is really good stuff. We have some more to discuss, so stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. I'm glad you're here with us today because I am really appreciating this conversation. I know you're going to as well. We're talking about connection. So what else? Where else are we going from here?
And before I move on to the parasympathetic nervous system, which I am, I think the holidays is also a really nice time to reach out. If you think of someone, text them, call them, email them, just make an effort even, and try to connect with them on the phone or via FaceTime where you actually can hear people's voices, because there are a lot of people that are really lonely and that this time of year is really hard for them.
Yeah, and an easy thing to say, if you're going to text, you could just text so-and-so and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big conversation, but to get a text or to hear that somebody else is thinking about you, it feels really good.
Yeah.
And it could make a huge difference in that person's life.
So this segues into the parasympathetic nervous system. And again, I talk about this. I'm definitely not an expert in this, and I have not looked this up a bunch. It's been a busy week. We didn't do a lot of investigating before this. So I'm just talking from a very brief overview. But the parasympathetic nervous system, I think a lot of people have heard about the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight response nervous system. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people have not heard about the parasympathetic nervous system, although it has been getting more press lately. And so basically, as you can tell by the name, it actually comes from the root of para is different in Greek and Roman, where it means either right next to or defending against. And you can actually look at it both ways. So the parasympathetic nervous system, it's the name of the nervous system that calms you. So it's the name of the nervous system that is right along with the sympathetic nervous system. There's ways where they work really beautifully together that are needed. But it's also the system that helps protect you against too much of the sympathetic nervous system. Mm-hmm. So what I talk to my patients about, I'm going to have a lot of people that talk about anxiety and depression and stress, and a lot of people with anxiety. I feel like maybe more than usual. And what I talk to them about is, say you're always up at about an 8. You're feeling like you're always just kind of up at about an 8.
Meaning anxious.
Yeah, just your level of what you're juggling and what you have going on. And then if anything happens, you're at a 10 right away. And so people are like, I just can't cope, or I have no bandwidth, or I'm maxed out, all those kinds of things, all those kinds of sentences. That likely means that people are operating at this kind of in the orange zone, and so it's really easy to get to the red zone, right?
Right.
So again, I'm not an expert in parasympathetic tone, but it's something to consider, and you can read about it. So how do you start engaging your parasympathetic nervous system to bring that down? So the example I'll use is, say you can do something and you can get yourself down to a 6. Mm-hmm. At least you have space. Then you can get to an 8. You're not going to get to a 10 so quickly.
Right.
And it doesn't take long to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, but it's definitely not something we're used to, and it would have to be something that you would need to put in your life somehow using, funny enough, using your phone to remind you or to sign up for an app. So do you want to say anything before I
No, let's get to the ways of how to stimulate it.
So the ways to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system are, one of the main ways is breathing exercises. Again, you can look this up, Google it. The breathing stimulates this, especially during the exhalation. It stimulates the vagus nerve, which stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. So doing deep belly breathing. And they have apps for this where you actually can either watch your phone, where it kind of takes you up, down, you're breathing, or you can just if you did deep breathing for 1 minute or 2 minutes, 3 times a day, it could significantly impact your experience of stress and anxiety.
Yeah, and it's fun with all these apps. Somebody gifted me an Apple Watch recently, and it's got my heart rate monitor, and I can see when I can control my heart rate simply with my breathing. That's how immediate it can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So massage also, I am a huge fan of the beauty of massage and the benefits of that. And I know that can be expensive for some people. We're lucky enough to have had that covered on our insurance. But you can even have someone in your life doing it, because that also can stimulate the nervous system. Humming, also because of the vagus nerve. So even I think that the long-standing traditions of meditation where they're saying om, and that sound. So you can, again, if you were to look at how to increase your parasympathetic tone, you'll find these things. Anything that's calming, really. So visualizing something that feels good and calming, spending time in nature, hugging and touch, and human connection is on there. And these are all this is all fairly new stuff people are talking about in a way, and some people may be skeptical. But you can even see it. I know when I was pumping after my babies were born, one of the things that I was told a long time ago is if you did deep belly breathing to the point where your palms feel warm, you're going to be able to pump better. And I feel like that's a great example where you do some deep belly breathings. It really only takes probably like 3 or 4. And you can actually feel your palms vasodilating. They get warm and they get more red versus that or pink, versus that feeling where we all know when we have a lot of sympathetic tone, where we're stressed or nervous or having the fight or flight, your hands get kind of cold and maybe even whitish. So it affects your vasodilatation as well. So that's an easy way to know, like, am I in a relaxed state? Like, did you do some breathing, even again, if you do it 3-4 times where your palms get warm?
Yeah, really good stuff. And this all, one of the reasons why I like this so much is it all falls under the umbrella of feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the science of feeling good, right?
Yeah.
And then the practice of it is implementing it, right?
Yeah.
And doing the breathing and feeling connected, a touch or a hug or and smiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we see people smile at us, right? It feels good to us when we see somebody else just smiling at us.
Right. So I think that to sum this all up, it's human connection. Number one is we discount the importance of it. I forgot to mention, like, teenagers spending so much time in their room. Parents think, well, they're just teenagers. They actually really want connection. I've never had a time. I annoyingly intervene and tell these families that are struggling with their teenagers with depression, you need to spend time together. And every single teenager that I've talked to later was like, it's actually kind of nice. I feel like my mom cares about what's going on with me. I actually kind of like it. I've never had one say, oh God, I wish I didn't have to spend time with her. They all like it. And so not even for your teenagers, do they always want to be alone. They may think they do, but we need connection.
Yeah, we're hardwired for it.
We're hardwired, it's the animal part of us. So just go connect with people and be kind and generous, and you can really make a difference. And if you're feeling isolated, please reach out to anyone that comes to mind. Just start the conversation and reach out and try to get that sense of connection.
Yeah, very good stuff. And 'tis the season, so like, people are expecting connection and they're open to it. So just go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we got to go. We got to wrap this up. So it's time now for you to get out there. Be a source of kindness. Be a source of contribution. You have something to offer this world, and we believe in you.